Let's get to the lesser Cuomo, lesser squared, Chris Cuomo. He's on CNN, and he's talking with Allison Camerota and Don Lemon, and they're discussing that Reza Aslan, the interview that they conducted jointly with Reza Aslan, where Reza really, he made them look really not good. There's actually more to get to about this, which I will get to after we play this Chris Cuomo sound. He's explaining, Lemon and Camerota are explaining the fallout of the interview, how they felt about it. CNN is clearly trying to milk this moment for all it's worth because it went viral. And Chris Cuomo has maybe one of the most demented summaries of what took place that you could possibly imagine. Let's listen to Cuomo lesser to the square. Cuomo lesser squared.
But also his tone was very angry, so he wound up kind of demonstrating what people are fearful about when they think of the faith in the first place, which is the hostility of it. Look,
I just have to say, wow. He's talking about Reza Aslan, a guest on CNN. Are you kidding me?
What you guys are exposing yourselves to. This is the state of play in journalism today. The Muslim world is responsible for a really big part of religious extremism right now. And they are unusually violent, they are unusually barbaric in the places where it's happening. And it's happening there more than it is in other places. Do you therefore want to generalize? Of course not. But you do want to call a situation what it is. It's not a coincidence that ISIS begins with an I. Right. I mean, that's what's going on in that part of the world. Doesn't mean that other faiths can't be violent and other cultures can't be violent, but you shouldn't be afraid of the question.
Thank you,
6
sir.
to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Appreciate
Great to see you.
Okay. All right. There's a lot to get to in that sound. First of all, three things. First of all, equating even indirectly Reza Aslan with ISIS is maybe the most demented thing I've ever heard on television. Now, I know that he's not trying to do that, but he's doing a straight line from Reza was annoyed by how stupid and simplistic Allison and Don were being to, isn't that what people are afraid of about Islam? I don't think that even the most bigoted, terrified in their sleep, the Muslims are coming to get us people, are really as terrified of a nice California-based academic and public intellectual embarrassing them on their lack of knowledge of Sharia. I don't think that that's what they're afraid of. I think they're actually a little bit more afraid of ISIS, and we could discuss whether or not they should have this type of fear of ISIS in the United States. That's a whole other discussion. I don't think that that's exactly what people are afraid of. Now, number two, and I will get in a moment, I'll reset this and I'll get into the broader discussion of Islam because people have raised these questions. But look, even in that clip, yes, ISIS, Nusra, all of this stuff is happening in the Middle East. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. You're talking about tectonic shifts, collapse of states, political arrangements that are not holding anymore, brittle authoritarianism, relentless intervention, resource politics. A lot of things are happening in that region that aren't happening in other parts of the world. In addition to that, I don't see CNN covering Burmese Buddhists slaughtering Muslims. I don't see them talking extensively about the new Indian prime minister who was just in the United States last week, gave a great big speech at Madison Square Garden, released a joint op-ed with President Obama on the future of bilateral India-U.S. relations. He, at the very, 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 very least, was complicit in a mass orgy of killings by Hindu fundamentalists that targeted Muslims in the state of Gujarat, which he governed before becoming prime minister. And you're talking about not only mass killings, rapes, babies being cut out, fetuses being cut out of mothers' stomachs, and political associates of his, one at least, has gone to jail for her role in those attacks. So that's the global reality. And if we're going to say that there are some groups that are unusually brutal, like ISIS, which I would certainly accept. We're going to have to accept and figure out and try to look at the unusual circumstances that surround policy and context in the Middle East. And everything is on the table, that's fine. But the problem is that these simplistic, stupid generalizations can never be separated from bad policy. And that's the problem. It's not like, oh my God, I can't deal with somebody criticizing Islam, blah, blah, blah. I can deal with somebody criticizing any religious faith. And I can deal with somebody pointing out any number of things. But let me tell you something. I think when people make blanket statements about Christians, it's stupid. I don't equate Pat Robertson with Quaker peace activists. And I don't equate fanatical Christian organizations with people who just go to church on Sundays and have some type of cultural affinity with it. These are complex ecosystems that manifest many, many different things. And usually if you want to figure out the cause of something, you're much more likely to figure out the answer to it by looking at the economic, social, political, historical context, and not just the religious text, because religious texts can be used really for anything.